The reason you keep losing your dynasty leagues is because you aren't targeting the right trades right now. So I'm here to give you 6 trade targets to get on your dynasty rosters right here on the Fast Draft channel. First run, right off the bat, Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, I've already talked about him on the podcast, but we've gone way too far on the fade here. We've gone to where, yes, we took him too highly in redraft last year, but now we're talking about not even drafting him or people taking him off their board or giving him the dreaded Kyle Pitts label, even though he had a good season. We've just been spoiled with Justin Jefferson or Puka Nacua breaking a record when we have rookies that don't do that, even if they've been drafted in the top 5, that we're disappointed. That's not the player's fault. Marvin Harrison Jr. still had almost 900 yards and 8 touchdowns while primarily playing in one single alignment on one side of the field on the outside. What this means is that there's a lot left on the bone once Drew Penzig figures out that he can move his receivers all over the formation. Moreover, he's still just a rookie. He needed to put a little bit of meat on the bones. And then when you look at the schedule of cornerbacks that he played, it was brutal. Now, he's still in the NFC. He's still going to see some competition. But I think when we have a player of this caliber with this high draft capital on a team that is sure as hell going to use him early and often, I think this is the perfect opportunity to buy him. Right now in our Flex 4 Bestball tournament, which is just starting 4 flex positions, nor quarterbacks, he is still 47th. That is an incredible value of a player that we were taking with wide receiver 1 upside that you're getting in the 4th, maybe even 5th or 6th round as one of your last picks. Dynasty, we have him wide receiver 15. Redraft, he's still wide receiver 26. Right now, you could build buff rosters with a good quarterback, stud running backs, and then still come back around and get someone with high upside like Marvin Harrison Jr. He's someone I'm trying to target in all my trade negotiations, and he's incredibly gettable right now. You could trade single first for him, or maybe even tier off players like AJ Brown and some of these older guys and get a pick back along with it. Next, we have Chris Olave, who seems like a perennial trade target at this point. But as we know, Derek Carr is gone. I don't know what that means for Tyler Shuck, but he's someone that I clearly see the upside. I see the talent. We just need to see the offense put it together. He's someone that even if you don't get it right now, I'm looking for him all season long, because let's say Shuck isn't it. Let's say Hainer, who we know isn't it, has to step in, or same for Rattler. They're at least going to be playing for a better quarterback later in 2026. So I'm going to be looking at him all season long as someone I want to get on my roster, because either way, the sunshine seems to be on the way with Chris Olave, whether it be now or a season for now. You got to think about the long game, and he's a young prospect with a lot of ability. More importantly, he's cheap. Borderline undrafted in Flex 4, someone you can get right now with a lot of upside. Then in Dynasty, he's at wide receiver 3 prices. Wide receiver 33, still wide receiver 28 in redraft. So if you're going to be doing some of these full best ball tournaments, we have one here on Fast Draft on the way, or anywhere else you're going to be playing at again, you could get 2 buff running backs and then get Marvin Harrison Jr. and Chris Olave, who have a lot of upside to build your roster around. Or if you're struggling at wide receiver, he's a guy, again, who has talent and just needs a quarterback. Go out and get some Chris Olave, who's relatively cheap and could give you a return value of wide receiver 1 in the long run. Next, we have a running back, Chuba Hubbard. Jonathan Brooks is going to be out for a full year. Rico Dowdle's looking like a handcuff, and it's clear that the Panthers love him, giving him that extension during the offseason, end of season. This is a guy that was giving us RB1, back in RB1, high in RB2 weeks, depending on a touchdown. That's on an ascending offense now that Bryce Young's figured it out, and now that he's got a wide receiver, and you're getting him at low end RB2 costs everywhere. In our Flex 4, he's still 32. That's something I'm going to smash 9 times out of 10 if I were you. Then he's RB20 in both Dynasty and Redraft right now. You can have him as your RB2, RB3, or if you want to do something like a 0 RB build, he's someone I'm targeting later than a lot of these other wide receivers. You should be targeting wide receiver early, or you're going to be targeting these high-end running backs and getting some of the receivers I named later. It's all about how you build. But as far as trade negotiations go, Chuba Hubbard is someone that you could get for maybe early seconds. Maybe you can get him for a player-for-player deal and have someone to bolster your roster and have that touchdown equity and hopefully an offense that we should see some upside that has a coach who knows how to use his running backs in Dave Canales. Go out and get some Chuba Hubbard. And if you like this, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. And I'm here to give you all the latest Fast Draft news. If you want to make some money in Bestball, go and get in this new format. All of our ADPs are fresh right now, incredibly exploitable. affordable. And if you want advantages, you can have them right here with me right now all season long on the Fast Draft channel. You could use our code to get in on the action and play with real players, real money. So hit the like and subscribe button, download Fast Draft today, and we'll jump right back into it. Now I'm going to give you a quarterback. We don't have our full best ball yet. We still have our flex and our D-up. Origins has quarterbacks, so we don't have anything there, but Justin Fields, incredibly affordable. He's someone that I am buying all the time. If I have a QB2 problem, maybe an Anthony Richardson problem, I am going out and get Justin Fields, who has proven to be productive. And everyone wants to talk about a Steelers tenure as a failure because they let him walk. No, they offered him the same contract that the Jets did, and he chose Aaron Glenn. And as we've seen what's going on with the Steelers right now, I don't think that's so much an indictment on Fields, because as you remember, he went 4-2, then had 10 touchdowns to 1 turnover. He only had one arguably bad quarter that left a bad taste in some people's mouths. And then when you think about Russell Wilson and what he did and what the problems with that offense were, mainly not having a mobile quarterback, you have to wonder why Justin Fields doesn't want to stay there. Right now, our ADP or our rankings already kind of reflect that. Dynasty, QB 21, which is understandable. Here's the key here. Redraft, he is QB 8. If he hits that upside, that's someone in Dynasty who you bought for a back-end QB2, cheap money, if you really think about it in Dynasty terms, that has that upside week in and week out. Even if you're going to be paying for a rental for a quarterback or at a quarterback 2, or if you're in single QB, he's someone you can go in with a low entry point and then have low risk but high reward as a quarterback. More importantly, again, there's Garrett Wilson there, but they brought in Mason Taylor, Arian Smith something, and Breece Hall is there. I at least expect them to do the best that they can to build an offense filled with RPOs that'll at least get you fantasy points in the long run. Next, another ugly duckling from Chicago. It is DeAndre Swift. Yes, I'm collecting either former or current Chicago assets that have disappointed like Infinity Stones. DeAndre Swift survived the draft. Yeah, they drafted Kyle Monangai. Yeah, Roshan Johnson's still there. But as we know from Ben Johnson's tenure with the Lions, he likes a 2-back system. And I like the receiving work that DeAndre Swift does best. If you want someone who is incredibly cheap right now, undrafted in our Flex 4, and when you think about these best ball tournaments, you want diversity and you want to take shots that maybe other people aren't doing. Swift is a perfect candidate for that because that's someone that other people aren't drafting right now that you can relatively cheap, and it gives you some roster diversity in best ball. More importantly, if you're like a 0 RB guy, a dynasty, or you really value wide receiver and quarterback and you need a running back, DeAndre Swift is someone that a lot of people are going to want to pawn off. So your entry point is something that's worth the gamble, especially if you're going to be paying late second rounders, maybe a third rounder, whatever, to get him after your rookie drafts. RB27 with us still in Dynasty. Redraft RB29, which is crazy low considering that his Dynasty's higher. That doesn't quite make sense to me, but it's the off season and we get new news every day. More importantly, these are the type of discrepancies I'm trying to point out to you, that if there is a little bit of that value in Dynasty, and we know that offensive system right now on redraft, you could go pick him up for cheap and you can bolster and have stronger options. Like in Superflex, get a stronger QB2, maybe get a stronger wide receiver 2, and you can wait on RB2 or some of your depth later with someone who can have low end RB1 upside. Lastly, this has mainly been vets, but Jaylin Noel is someone that I wanted to talk about, and here's my chance to speak the gospel. Right now in our Origins ADP, back into the second round, and he has the same opportunity that Jaden Higgins has, even though he was taken a round later. Right now, I see Jaylin Noel as someone who could play in the slot, while Higgins and Nico Collins could do the dirty work on the outside. We saw with Stephon Diggs, we saw with even John Mechie what they want to do, and they want to push the ball downfield and give Nico Collins options everywhere else. There's a role for all these people to eat, and they have a quarterback. The only thing I'm worried about now at this point is that offensive line, which they have actively tried to address. So if I'm going in and needing a wide receiver and I'm looking for young depth, Jaylin Noel is someone that you could trade back into in the draft, maybe in the back half of the second, early third round. He's someone that if you want diversity, let's say like Dynasty is wide receiver 49, redraft wide receiver 66, especially in these best ball tournaments. If you want one of these late round flyers that give you roster diversity with high upside, I'm going after Jaylin Noel right now. That'll do it, folks. Those are 6 players you should be targeting. Again, if you want more content like this, or if you have any trade questions, anything, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Love you, and I'll see you on the next one.
So I thought I needed.